From an individual's point of view, combining scientific determinism with Amor Fati offers a way to navigate life that transcends anxiety, frustration, and the desire for control. Here's how this worldview might manifest for someone living day to day. Relinquishing the need for control. Many people struggle with the need to control outcomes, whether in relationships, careers, or even health. This desire can often lead to stress and disappointment when things don't go as planned. From the lens of scientific determinism, every action, decision, and outcome is a result of prior causes, none of which are under one's absolute control. Perspective. The individual begins to see that life unfolds according to a series of inevitable, interconnected events. The notion of controlling one's destiny becomes less relevant. Instead, they focus on controlling their reactions and emotions. With Amor Fati, they don't just accept this truth passively, they embrace it. They learn to love the unfolding of events as they are, seeing every experience as necessary and valuable. This creates a deep inner peace, as the individual no longer fights against the current of life. Finding freedom in acceptance. While this deterministic worldview might initially seem constraining, it actually offers profound freedom. If everything is already predetermined by past causes, the individual is liberated from the burden of constantly trying to shape every detail of their future. Perspective. The individual understands that the true freedom lies in how they choose to view the events of their life. They can choose to resist, resent, or dwell in negative emotions, or they can consciously decide to love their circumstances. By embracing Amor Fati, they find freedom in their acceptance. Every outcome, every moment is seen as a gift rather than a threat. This allows them to live with a sense of calm and fulfillment, no longer trapped in the cycle of what could have been or what should be. Transforming suffering into growth. Suffering is an inevitable part of life, whether due to personal loss, failure, or unfulfilled desires. An individual who combines scientific determinism and Amor Fati recognizes that suffering itself is part of the larger, necessary flow of events. Every painful experience is not just something to be endured, but something to be appreciated as part of a broader, meaningful story. Perspective. Instead of resisting pain, the individual leans into it, seeing it as an integral part of their fate. Through Amor Fati, they interpret suffering not as punishment or misfortune, but as an opportunity for growth and self-awareness. In this way, they transform adversity into a catalyst for deeper appreciation of life. They ask, how is this challenge shaping me? Rather than, why is this happening to me? This shift of mindset allows them to turn every hardship into a path toward resilience and wisdom. When an individual accepts that both the past and future are shaped by forces beyond their control, they are better able to live in the present moment. The scientific determinism aspect of this worldview alleviates the pressure of constantly planning for and worrying about the future, as it is already set in motion. Meanwhile, Amor Fati allows them to embrace the present with open arms, fully engaging with life as it is, without regret or anxiety. The individual finds joy in being alive now. They don't waste time wishing they were somewhere else or in different circumstances. Instead, they focus on the richness of the present, knowing that whatever happens is part of their personal, inevitable path. Every experience, whether mundane or extraordinary, becomes valuable because it is part of the greater whole that is their life. Relationships often come with expectations. Expectations for how others should behave, how conflicts should resolve, or what kind of future should unfold. For the individual adopting this worldview, relationships become less about control and more about appreciation. They understand that others, too, are governed by their own causes and conditions, and that trying to change or control them is futile. With Amor Fati, the individual learns to love others not in spite of their flaws or differences, but because of them. They realize that every interaction, every moment spent with another person, is part of their fate and should be embraced fully. They stop trying to mold the people in their life into idealized versions and instead appreciate them as they are, seeing beauty in their unpredictability and complexity. This leads to more compassionate, patient, and accepting relationships. Mortality is often a source of existential fear. For the individual who adopts scientific determinism and Amor Fati, death is not a fearful or tragic event. It is simply the final outcome of a life that has been lived according to the same deterministic principles governing all other events. Accepting this inevitability through Amor Fati leads to a more peaceful relationship with the concept of death. The individual learns to view their mortality as part of the greater cosmic order. Death is neither something to dread nor something to be avoided. It is to be embraced as part of one's fate. This shift allows the individual to live more fully, knowing that death is simply the natural conclusion to a life well lived. Rather than focusing on the end, they focus on living as authentically and joyfully as possible in the time they have. In life, unexpected and uncontrollable events will inevitably arise. A deterministic outlook recognizes that these events were always meant to happen, dictated by causes stretching back into the past. However, the Amor Fati aspect imbues this inevitability with optimism. The individual faces uncertainty with a sense of calm optimism, knowing that whatever comes is not only inevitable, but also worthy of love and acceptance. They find strength in the belief that everything in their life, from triumphs to challenges, has meaning because it is part of their fate. This perspective creates emotional resilience and a deeper connection to life itself, as they move forward with confidence that the universe is unfolding exactly as it should for them. Through this lens, the individual experiences life as a harmonious, meaningful sequence of events, where every moment, whether joyful or painful, is to be embraced. They live with a sense of inner freedom, unburdened by the need for control, and cultivate a deep love for both the process and outcome of their personal fate.